Spurs up, Carolina fans. This is Phil Harris once again here at the Ruckin Roosters show. I am joined with some very, very good rugby players for Carolina, of course. I've got some excellent rugby players here. They are captains of our Carolina rugby team, by the way. We've got Grant Howard and also Dan the Man Golden. How the hell are you boys?
Awesome. How are you? Thanks for having us. We love being
Excellent.
on the show. This, I think, is my 5th or 6th time on here, and it's a pleasure to be back.
Very good. You guys have maybe the record appearances other than maybe Coach Roberts being on the show here, so that's pretty cool. Grant, you are a senior at this point, and Dan, you are a grad student at Carolina. You guys have been playing at Carolina your entire careers since coming over as freshmen to Carolina Rugby. I wanted to ask you guys about your summer break. I mean, we're talking about right now we're in the end of August, about to be in September. But prior to that, you guys were on summer break. So tell me about where you guys were. I heard there was some globe trotting involved. So tell me about that.
Yeah, so I went over to a couple places with my girlfriend for like a graduation present.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated my undergrad in May. So me and my girlfriend went to Poland, France, and then the UK, where we saw some former Cock Rugby players. Ben McCormack, saw him in England. We saw Jack Chelly and Callum Shand in Scotland. So that was pretty cool.
Awesome.
And I was on a Maymaster trip through the school. I started in Spain, and that was in May, like right after that Sevens Nationals tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I flew over to Spain with the school. I was there for about a week and a half, came back, worked an LPGA tournament, doing marketing and operations for that down in Atlantic City. And then took some time at home and went over to Scotland and Ireland with my roommates and to catch up with some guys who played abroad. Coincidentally, Dan and I went to the same places over abroad, but we just went at different times. So
Gotcha. Did you guys play overseas at all or didn't put the boots on?
Sadly not. I tried to. When I went to Edinburgh to visit Callum, the day before I went, there was like a big tournament that he asked me to play in, and I really wanted to go, but my girlfriend had like a birthday party in England, so I couldn't make it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I didn't play either. When we went down to Hoyk, they had a conditioning session on that Friday, and they said it was the worst conditioning session of the year. So we actually decided to sit out.
That's a smart move right there. I wouldn't have done that as well. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm glad that you guys are experiencing the world and stuff like that. You know, what's really cool about going overseas, especially overseas, is like, you know, if you're a rugby person, you're going to find people immediately in these English-speaking countries, especially that know about rugby. So that's pretty cool. You can always have like that conversation started, like I play rugby, you know, that sort of stuff. So that's awesome. What took place in terms of preseason preparation? I want to transition here to talk about what we're really here to talk about is the preseason is coming to a close. The regular season is just right around the corner for you guys for 15s, but let's talk about that preseason preparation first. What took place?
Yes, we were doing practices from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. During the week, and we would do lifts midday or an information session. And then we would finalize that with an hour practice at the end of the day, sort of just making sure we got all of our mechanics down and making sure we have our systems down to continue on. But Dan can speak on it more as well.
Yeah, it was cool. It was more like we saved the grunt work, you know, running, tackling for the beginning of the day. Did a lot of walkthrough stuff, technique stuff, which was cool. And then kind of middle through, we went to Fort Jackson, which was really awesome for the team and really liked it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I definitely want to talk about that in a moment. But when you guys arrived on campus, how far away was that from the actual courses starting? Was it like a week or 2 weeks?
I think 7 days.
Okay. Yeah, it was about – we started on the 17th, and we started classes on the 23rd. So
Gotcha. Yep. So you had a little bit of time there where it was just strictly rugby focused. So that's really good. I think that's very, very crucial to have a successful season for sure. But, another thing that we can utilize in Columbia is Fort Jackson is right next door, right? So this is something that took place last year where you guys were doing a little bit of like boot camp type stuff. So what the difference between this year and last year in terms of the obstacle courses, or what did they have you do there at Fort Jackson to get you prepared?
Yeah, this year was I would say more exercise heavy. I know at one point we were just on like a field, just doing like squats and jumps, and you're kind of like, man, this is hard. But there was also a lot of, to add to that, because we did all the hard workout stuff. We got to do a lot of the really large obstacles. They're like however 50 feet in the air. Some really interesting stuff rather than the smaller ones we did the time before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was a kind of give and a take for whichever one you liked better. But they were both really interesting both times we went. I really liked it.
Yeah, we really honed in on our rugby skills with some of them as well. We were able to, because there was like a 10-foot tower we had to scale. So we were doing lifts and getting our guys up there.
Nice.
So we can get everyone up. And we also did this like 1.5 mile trek carrying sandbags, water, and kettlebells. And that was something we hadn't done in the past, and that really got the guys tired.
And then at the end, we got to race the drill sergeant through one of their obstacle sprint courses, and we did take home the win there for the Cox. So
I was about to mention that. That's awesome. Yeah. Awesome. That's awesome, guys. I'm so glad that you were able to enjoy that. I think that's a gut-busting type of activity there. I'm glad I was not participating, but I'm glad that you guys were. Let's talk about the actual you guys had some like classroom-esque sessions during this preseason stuff, and one of those involved the MLR champion 2023 captain of the New England Free Jacks, Josh Larson. He took some time to speak with you guys. What were y'all's takeaways from that interaction that you had with him?
He was awesome. We really had a great time speaking with Josh, and he provided some amazing insight for us going forward in the future. For some of the guys on the team who are looking to bring it to the next level or have even thought about it, right? Mm-hmm. Having him talk to us also provided some professional insight about nutrition, diet, what it takes to really bring your body to that next level in terms of working out and feeding yourself correctly. But it was just an awesome experience, and we're really grateful that you were able to set that up for us.
Yeah. And it was really cool. I had guys from Scotland, the ones we visited, texting me like, wow, like that Josh Larson guy is like a big deal. I can't believe you guys talked to him. I was like, yeah.
For sure. Yeah, he played in NPC as well down there in New Zealand, born in Canada but raised in New Zealand. So, I mean, like, Josh Larson's a legit rugby player, internationally capped with Canada multiple times. So, yeah, I mean, he's just one of those guys that, like, if he's talking, you just want to listen and try to gather as much information from him as possible because he's really at the top of his game in MLR. So, yeah, I'm so glad that you guys were able to experience that because, MLR has existed for, 7 seasons now. So, you guys, being at Carolina, have the opportunity potentially to find your way onto an MLR team at some point. I know that Dan, your brother, is involved in the development squad there for New York. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that a guy from Carolina could get drafted down the road into MLR, which would be an amazing accomplishment for that player and, of course, for the program. So that's something to think about definitely down the road. But I wanted to talk about the inter-squad scrimmage for a moment. Gray versus white. It took place last weekend and was streamed on Gamecock Rugby YouTube, one of the platforms that we're using right now to stream this. Almost 500 viewers so far on that, which is fantastic. What did y'all learn about that inter-squad scrimmage? Just give me some thoughts on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, I think, centered around developmental guys. As you know, me and Grant have played for a couple of years now with Coach, and they kind of know what we bring to the table. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of just about like who's gonna, out of the new guys or out of the returning guys who are a little bit younger, trying to step into their own. Who's really been working this offseason and who can you tell has made a big step. And I think there were a lot of guys who impressed us, returning guys, new guys, just a lot of different guys who just really showed something good during that, and they'll get to see the field because of it, which is good.
Yeah, it was a real opportunity for kids to show off all the work they did over the summer and in preseason camp to show that they're learning the new systems and understanding what's happening with our program. So it was an awesome scrimmage, and we're looking forward to it again next year. I'm not going to be here, but it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure. You'll watch it on YouTube, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
I wanted to ask about because I saw on Instagram that they at one point they were called like Team Dan and Team Grant. Did you guys select these guys to play on your teams? How did that work?
Yeah, we sat in this very room here. We did a little draft, and
Nice.
my team took home the win 2 years in a row. By the way,
Wow,
luckily.
wow.
Team Dan
That's
is 2-0.
2 years in a row, not a fluke. So that's a
It's a
shame.
pattern.
Risky calls. I blame the ref.
Okay, yeah. Of course. All right. Let's talk about this huge freshman class. I'm sure a lot of those guys were on display in that game, the gray versus white. Huge recruiting class once again brought in by head coach John Roberts. What's y'all's impressions of these young guns so far?
Yeah, one thing to start is they've got a lot of grit, right? They're working hard, making their tackles, and really providing the juice for us to stay hungry this year, right? We want to win the SCRC, and they're really driving all of us to push ourselves to make sure that we keep our spots on A side, and frankly, they don't take them because some of them are crawling to take those spots. So it's good that they're pushing us, and they really have that drive that we're looking for in new players.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of them are really impressive. A lot of them come in. Sometimes they look a little small until you get hit by them. You're like, whoa, all right, maybe they're not.
Right. So that's one thing to keep in mind is iron sharpens iron. So the better these classes become and the more experience these kids have, whether it be just, starting 4 years in high school or playing even before that, that's definitely the goal as, youth rugby continues to develop in this country. That's one thing, you don't want to be complacent. You don't want to feel complacent in your starting position. So competition is very, very important in programs. So I'm very encouraged to hear that these guys, they got a little bit of something to make you guys work even harder as starters. A little away trip coming up against Coastal Carolina this weekend. It is definitely a scrimmage game where there've been discussions of, 2 30-minute halves and stuff like that for the A side and B side as well. So what can be gathered? What can be learned in this type of game against Coastal Carolina, do you think, on Saturday, September the 2nd?
I think it's just more the same as the gray versus white. I feel like sometimes seeing the guys who aren't on your team, you can really see, what's someone going to do when they're actually playing a real game. Mm-hmm. And that's important for us as returning players. It's been a long time since we played a 15s game. How have we adapted, how we got better. How are our systems now filling in that there's new guys in the roles? So we got to kind of see how everything's working out. And then again, we're doing a lot of the younger guys are going to be able to get in. We're going to see, who could play this system and, who wants a spot. So really it's a good way to see what we have.
Yeah, Coastal is going to be a lot of fun. We're really thankful for the McKernan family providing the charter buses for us to go down this weekend. That's a huge improvement for us as a club. But we're going to do 2 30-minute halves for the A side, and that's going to be an A side game, 60 minutes, kind of like they do in high school. That's going to be a real competition, and we'll see where that goes in terms of reserves and such. And then we'll do 3 30-minute halves for B side and some reserves on that as well, just to make sure that all of our B side guys are getting time and can start to feel comfortable out there on the new pitch for that.
Mm-hmm.
As a clumsy B-side player in my days at Carolina, I would have done a lot of things for a charter bus instead of being in Jeff Mason's little SUV with about 7 guys listening to loud punk rock music while we're trying to study on the way back from Chapel Hill. I'll tell you that for free. So that's like, you guys have I don't want to say you've officially made it as a program, but that's a big deal to have charter buses taking you to away games. That also brings a little bit of expectation, right? Like if somebody's showing up in a charter bus, if you're the opposition, God bless Coastal, nice little school, in-state opponent, right? But if they're practicing or whatever, and they see charter buses showing up, they're like, holy crap, we're going to get our ass kicked, or we're going to embarrass these guys for showing up in a charter bus. So that's one of those things. It's like, you want to play extra well with the expectations that are being created in this program. So you don't want to fall flat on your face against an opponent like that. So I'm sure that gives you guys a little bit more motivation, or I hope it does, to perform well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's something I honestly didn't think of prior to you mentioning. But there is, even thinking back to last year when we played up at up in Virginia at a tournament there was a team that rolled in a coach bus, and I'm thinking back to my mindset of how we thought they were an A-plus club, and
Right.
We're getting varsity funding, and it's amazing to see us at that same point now, even as a club, right? And we love being a club. We love everything that comes with it, but we're excited for the future here as well.
Excellent way to put it for sure. The first SCRC, I always get that incorrect, at home against one of your ugly orange rivals. Nope, not the one that we're all thinking about. It's the other one, Tennessee, on September the 16th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. What's the team expectations heading into the season? Is that something that y'all discuss in team meetings and at practices? Like, do you guys outright say, like, we want to win the championship this year?
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, that's the end goal of every season. You want to take it every game at a time. You don't want to look ahead and say, oh, we'll play this guy, whatever. But at the end of the day, you're playing for a championship, and that's what we're doing. And Tennessee is, the first step there.
Yeah, we don't want to lose a game this year. We think we have the talent and capabilities to execute that. So Tennessee is the first step on that long journey.
Love it. Love the confidence for sure. I love that is the goal. Like, speak that stuff into existence, man. Like, we want to win a championship, that sort of stuff. One thing that you didn't mention is depth. I think this team, is developing that depth that is necessary. Absolutely. If somebody, goes down, it's the next man up. And you should have confidence in that next man up mentality for sure. If you're getting guys that have been playing, all 4 years in high school, that sort of stuff, that are coming through in the depth chart there. So that's very, very encouraging stuff. Just any message to whether it be alumni or, supporters of Carolina Rugby, any message to those folks here as we end preseason?
Yeah, I mean, my main message is I'm just so proud of what they've done, and really happy for this spot we're in, and we're looking forward to the continuous growth, and we really appreciate the support that alumni and parents have provided us thus far. But we're striving for more always, and we really appreciate where we are now, though.
Yeah, and while we're thankful that they gave it to us, but we want to do something with it. So just look out for us in the win column.
Hell yeah. Love to hear it, boys. With that being said, I've got 2 words. Whoop, there we go. 2 words to exit the video in 3, 2, 1. Spurs up, baby. Woo! Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you.